Before you spray your dirty smell the inside of a car dispenser.
What I do, results that you tell the brides can't get out.
Getting a little uncomfortable with the quad road, but I can see it's not much better down here.
Nerve, that's kind of great. He just thinks he can go anywhere.
Doctor, test results.
Is there an interim?
Yeah.
And he is in the interim. Unless something has changed, I am not going in there with him. I mean, something would have to have drastically changed.
Like, if you saved my life?
Yeah. That's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I mean, if he did, then of course I'm glad, but I mean, he hasn't redeemed himself, has he? Fine. But I still don't like him.
If you give Abby...
No talking, you. So I ran the sand grains from the bride's hair and nose and ears, and they're not all from Afghanistan or Iran.
No, they're from the U.S.
No. Look, some grains were Middle Eastern, and the others were from the Sonoran Desert.
It's a big place.
That extends from California to Arizona and into Mexico. But based on toxicology results, the water in his system, the mineral in his blood, and the pollutants are in his windpipe.
Trace amounts like that would be so small, you couldn't possibly determine exactly where it is.
McBride was murdered and beheaded in the Copper State.
Arizona. Thanks, Ab. If Z's in trouble, that might come in handy. If you know how to get it to her, okay.
Well, even if someone could contact her, who would you trust? Schmiel?
A man of Schmiel showing his age McGee. She won't risk exposing him. Do you have another option, Agent?
Let me get this right, Professor. You want me to track down a former Mossad operative who's been trained to disappear?
She's also a former U.S. federal agent who's recently been under intense scrutiny.
And you want me to find her without letting anyone else know that I'm looking?
Well, sure. Because if you lead the wrong people in her direction, you might get her killed.
Well, that part would be quite cool.
Do we have a problem, Adam?
No. I'm really surprised that you would trust me with such responsibility. I thought you did not like me.
I don't. But Zika trusts you. So I'm gonna have to.
I'll do what I can.
Hard to know who to trust you. Has it ever been easy? Right?
Hell no. But the big business profiting from acts of terror? It's like Chicago. Capone in the 20s.
Like cotton. Make you feel any better?
No, it doesn't. Our headless lieutenant was ordered to abandon all of his orders canceled without any record of it. Who better to do that than his commanding officer?
McGee, Captain Dominic Wayne, JSOC, Angela.
On it. All right, got Captain Wayne's bank statements up. What exactly am I looking for?
Invitation.
Payoffs, throwing McBride under the bus, Sonny Gibson, who doesn't try.
No unusual activity or deposits. Appears her captain's a typical government employee.
Broke. Well, maybe he didn't change the orders. You could be wrong.
We'll find out. McGee. What's your head?
Honey, you got something to light these with?
Who's that?
Why don't you take care of it? I'll be right back. Gentlemen, must be important for you to come all the way out here. Haven't taken just a minute. It might make a little while. So the truth came.
Tell us about Lieutenant Chad McBride's orders. Am I right?
More specifically, his orders to come home. You told me he came home with us. It was your job to find out who put him there.
You did.
You know, it's against regulations for military personnel to tell their loved ones their orders have changed.
I used to write my wife in. So did Jen.
Just came in out today.
Lunch, no. We talked to Captain Wayne. She
Happy New Year. It's Wednesday. You know what that means. AEW Dynamite New Year's Smash, WWE NXT New Year's Evil, live reactions, play live right here on YouTube. Thank you for tuning in and watching. As always, I'm your host, Encyclopedia of Sports, Cool Hand Luke 96. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe on social media. Links in the description below with that thumbs up button. Share hashtag AEW, hashtag WWE NXT. Chat questions and comments, super chats, super stickers, always greatly appreciated. As well, we're going to kick off the new year along with WWE NXT New Year's Evil. Thank you for tuning in and watching. Sorry for any technical difficulties right off the bat, but we're in store for two fantastic wrestling episodes tonight with AEW Dynamite New Year's Smash Night 1 tonight. Night 2 going to be pre-taped after this, airing next week. And then we'll also have WWE NXT New Year's Evil once again. A couple championship matches the next few weeks coming off of the end of 2020, along with the tribute to the Exalted One last week, Mr. Brody Lee, as he passed away on December the 26th, 2020, day after Christmas, at the age of 41, due to a non-COVID-19 related lung illness. May he rest in peace. Still really not over it. Hard to believe, but show must go on. As always, it's Wednesday. You know what that means. And tonight we have AEW and NXT. Once again, thank you for tuning in and watching. We'll begin with AEW, as in my opinion, tonight, NXT New Year's Evil, card-wise, a little bit better. Even on top of both nights of New Year's Smash for AEW, thought, very well they could have put together a better card for 2 weeks of a New Year's episode. But then they'll be on to Beach Break about a month from now, early February. So they'll be building towards that following the next 2 weeks of AEW. But we'll begin with AEW tonight because even with just 5 matches total for both, now NXT -1 down to 4 with the postponement of the Fight Pit match with Ciampa and Thatcher, as Timothy Thatcher is on the shelf now, currently injured. I don't know any more details on that at this point in time, as that news just broke earlier this afternoon. So that match, however, in the meantime, has been canceled, postponed, pushed to a to-be-determined date at some point down the road, potentially at the next NXT TakeOver event, or at a next NXT TV special, depending on what their mindset is moving forward with their next, whether it be TakeOver event or TV special, such as New Year's Evil tonight, the first ever NXT New Year's Evil. WWE's done New Year's shows in the past, pay-per-view wise at least, but with New Year's falling on a Friday, we had Friday Night SmackDown this past week. Goldberg returned on Monday Night Raw, challenged Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship come Royal Rumble at the end of the month. But we'll begin with AEW. We'll get more into everything that's going on in the world of professional wrestling throughout the evening, so stay tuned. But once again, thank you for tuning in and watching. But I just feel like we'll begin with AEW because NXT's got a better card tonight, in my opinion. Normally I have NXT on TV2 compared to TV1 as I have it on this evening. It just honestly depends, flip-flop back and forth, watch both at the same time. But with TV2, maybe a little bit of a delay compared to actual live TV, with the 7-second delay that they, of course, give us for watching at home. But for AEW tonight, night 1 of New Year's Smash, first ever New Year's type of event for All Elite Wrestling. They're going to take us from behind, doggy style. Snoop Dogg going to make an appearance. Le Champion, Demo God, Chris Jericho going to be on commentary once again as well. John Moxley going to be returning to action. Sting advertised for tonight's episode as well. Don't want to get into Goldberg and Sting. I said my piece on that in the past, stating my opinion on, yes, Sting is better than Goldberg. Sting in the past, 20 years back in WCW was 10 times better wrestler than Bill Goldberg was and ever has been and ever will be since. You know, Goldberg being brought once again in for ratings, and yes, it showed, but how does the WWE move forward? Because it seems like that's all they're worried about nowadays, anyways, is goddamn ratings. Who cares? Other than, of course, sponsors, which I totally understand. But you can't call up somebody else and say, hey, you know, you want to come back and do this one off or whatever it is. I get the contract. He's got 2 matches per year, two um, 2 official matches, I guess you could say. Appearance wise, you know, he's going to be on, well, he's on Raw or SmackDown, building up, hyping the match up, you would think, hopefully, as many times as possible. But, you know, for current storylines, it doesn't make any sense. Other than, of course, unless they're going to have Drew finally be the one to beat Goldberg, as Owens and Bray Wyatt couldn't in the past, because then that just hurt them, and then they have to build them back up. It made no sense in the past. It makes no sense once again now, but here we are. They're going to do what they want anyway, so we can sit here and bitch and complain all we want, but we'll still watch. But Legends Night on Raw, really don't want to get into it much more, but Goldberg did in fact return. AEW hasn't had Sting wrestle yet, even though he's been with the company for about a month now. He sort of aligned himself last week with the current TNT champion in Darby Allin. However, Brody Lee Jr. is the TNT champion for life following the passing of his father, the Exalted One, Mr. Brody Lee, just recently. May he once again rest in peace. And chat questions, comments, always greatly appreciate super chats, super stickers as well. I'll get to them in a second. Stay tuned for responses. But with AEW New Year's Smash, we'll see how the ratings turn out for tonight, because with the Wednesday Night War, in quotes, so-called, as they're calling it, I mean, like I said, I could really care less about the ratings, but that's all, especially WWE, it seems like. I get AEW cares too, but, you know, who gives a shit, honestly? I don't. So I'll shut up about it. But AEW has tonight equaling out the star power for the matches with appearances from Snoop Dogg, who's coming in, hyping up the Go Big Show, with Cody Rhodes also hosting. That'll debut on the TBS network, I do believe, tomorrow night, if I'm mistaken. So that's the only reason why Snoop Dogg's on AEW. Of course, he's in Sasha Banks' entrance, has had ties with the WWE in the past. You know, look at Shaq, okay? It's all with what the company's doing, who they're going to want to bring in, because it's a one-time deal. It's not like, okay, we signed this dude for 5 years, he can't do anything other than, you know, work for us. But when these companies do that, that's what they feel like, you know, they're responsible for. Not even responsible for that matter. Not even entitled. But, hey, we signed him, he's ours, you know, no one else can touch him, you know. But, hey, we'll see if Snoop Dogg's gonna have as good as a line as he did during the Tyson-Jones boxing match after Thanksgiving or not. But he's going to be making an appearance tonight on AEW. We'll have Cody Rhodes and Matt Sydal. That goes back to, you know, Cody and Evan Bourne in the WWE. Should be a very good matchup. Got an 8-man tag team match as well with All Elite Wrestling New Year's Smash this evening. It'll be the Young Bucks and SCU taking on the Acclaimed and the Hybrid 2. A battle with the big man of the Inner Circle with Jake Hager and Wardlow. Should be interesting there, especially with MJF and Wardlow just being added in over the past few months or so, following MJF's victory over Chris Jericho at Full Gear in November. Hager challenged Wardlow. He's there, he's not, to a match that was supposed to take place last week. Tonight was actually supposed to be night 2 New Year's Smash, but with the tribute to Brody Lee last Wednesday, it was a full Brody Lee show for AEW. They pushed back New Year's Smash night 1 to night 2 to tonight, and next week back a few weeks, and now AEW with night 1 tonight up head to head with New Year's Evil, and then night 2 once again next week. Make sure I have that straight. We'll also have Shida defending her AEW Women's Championship against Abaddon as well. Kenny Omega and Rey Fenix of the Lucha Brothers for AEW World Heavyweight Championship. We'll get into who I do believe very well, could take over the reins of the Dark Order moving forward, as well as mentioned last week, especially with Marty Scurll's departure from Ring of Honor. But go check out that Brody Lee tribute AEW Dynamite with WWE NXT live reactions from last week. You'll have my opinion on that, but we'll get more into it tonight as well. But for NXT New Year's Evil, currently advertised for 5 matches. However, as mentioned earlier today, they pulled the Fight Pit match with Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher due to an injury. Thatcher on the shelf injured, so that match going to be postponed to a later date. We'll also have Santos Escobar and Grand Metalik for the Cruiserweight title, along with Damian Priest and Karrion Kross is actually going to kick off the show coming up. Then now WWE Forever right now, also on TNT AEW. In the meantime, our host of the evening, Dexter Loomis, who's been painting us some pictures the past few weeks, and he's in the Capitol Wrestling Center, the so-called former WWE Performance Center, PC. He's going to walk up some steps. Seems like he's in the far end of the arena, where all the tech is at. He's high up above, looking out. I'm sure there's a few fans ringside, but it's all WWE Thunderdome like with the virtual experience. All right, now he just hit one of the buttons and some lights came on. Those lights now have turned off. Once again, they turn on. In the meantime, the Young Bucks and SCU making their appearance on AEW. The 8-man tag team match will kick off the night. The Young Bucks and SCU versus the Acclaimed and the Hybrid 2. And now Loomis has a switch, turning on all the lighting, all the works for the production for WWE NXT New Year's Evil as we're into 2021. There's some fans ringside. Loomis actually put on a suit jacket in the meantime too. Live forever, but yeah, Damian Priest and Karrion Kross returning from his injury. First match back. They're going to kick off the night in singles competition. We also have the first ever last woman standing match with Rhea Ripley and Raquel Gonzalez. But then the main event of the evening, it'll be a rematch from this past October, NXT TakeOver 31, Finn Balor defending his NXT Championship against Kyle O'Reilly of the Undisputed Era. So as Damian Priest enters, about to kick off the night against Karrion Kross. Should be a damn good match, as this 8-man tag should be as well. It'll be Matt Nick Jackson, Christopher Daniels, and Frank Kazarian, the Young Bucks and SoCal Uncensored SCU against the Acclaimed, who are new to AEW, along with the Hybrid 2, who has been around but haven't done a whole lot with them. It seems like they're high on the Acclaim though. Faced off against the Young Bucks a few weeks back. They very well could become, in my opinion, the next #1 contenders for those AEW World Tag Team titles at some point down the line. As mentioned, AEW with New Year's Smash Night 1 this evening, Night 2 next week. Push back, just a few weeks here with the add-in of the tribute following the passing of Brody Lee right after Christmas. They'll be on to Beach Break following these next 2 weeks of New Year's Smash, in which we'll have the Kip and Penelope wedding with the best man himself, Miro going to be in action next week. We'll get into Night 2 of New Year's Smash later on. But now, in the meantime, here comes formerly known as Killer Kross, Karrion Kross with Scarlett. His entrance, along with the Fiend Bray Wyatt's top-notch, one of the best, if not the best right now in all of WWE. Following, The Undertaker's sort of so-called, retirement, if you will, following Survivor Series. Who knows if he'll ever come back and wrestle again or not, but right now, currently, in the WWE, it's The Fiend Bray Wyatt up on the main roster for the best entrance, in my opinion, and then Karrion Kross down in NXT. And the end is, in fact, here. We're going to fall and pray, as Damian Priest will as well, to Karrion Kross and Scarlett. And Kross, no doubt, should win this. There's a report right now out there that Priest is going to be caught up with the main roster. We'll see, one, if that happens, which it probably will, but then two, if it's going to work out or not. But hashtag AEW, hashtag AEW Dynamite, hashtag WWE NXT, hashtag NXT NYE for New Year's Evil when you share this live reaction stream on social media. Once again, thank you for tuning in and watching. So Damian Priest and Karrion Kross with Scarlett. He's going to win this. He's going to become NXT champion once again at some point down the line. Won the title against Keith Lee back TakeOver 30, SummerSlam weekend, end of August. Suffered an injury. Finn Balor, Adam Cole went at it following the addition of Ciampa and Gargano. It was a fatal four-way turned in to a singles championship match a week later, early mid-September. Hard to believe that was that long ago, though. Even though it doesn't seem like that long ago, it was just 4, 5, 6 months ago now. But we're into the new year. We got America in absolute chaos with everything going on. But we're underway with both of these matches now. We got Scarlett ringside with Karrion Kross taking on Damian Priest as they now fight ringside up against that caged plexiglass barricade that NXT has, and then this 8-man tag on AEW once again. But Kross was out with an injury, and Finn Balor became NXT champion once again. Kross just returned, set his eyes on Punishment Martinez, Damian Priest, of course. And now we have this match here tonight. They've been promoting, hyping up New Year's Evil for about a month now. You got to go back to, actually a month today, honestly. You got to go back to TakeOver War Games on December the 6th. That's when they announced this New Year's Evil event. And now, a month later, here we are. Head-to-head, of course, with New Year's Smash. So the Acclaimed and the Hybrid 2 taking turns against, that is, Christopher Daniels of SCU, who's the legal man for the Young Bucks and SoCal Uncensored. So Bucks of Youth, Southern California, with the Acclaimed and the Hybrid 2, with fans in attendance as well, of course, friends and family of the roster ringside. But they're in Jacksonville at Daly's place. Rumor is they're going to be about a month from now moving shop for about a month because of the weather, because they're outside, of course, which I can totally understand. But they are in northern Florida compared to the rumored destination of going to South Beach, Miami, Florida for beach break. It makes sense to start off with beach break in Miami and then, do a month of TV there if you're going to with Full Gear, or Revolution, off of Full Gear, into, late winter, early spring on the road to Double or Nothing. But they're really promoting this Go Big show, of course, for Turner, with Cody as a judge. Sort of seems to be like America's Got Talent, if you will, but brand new. Don't really know a whole lot about it other than commercials and promos we've seen. But in the meantime, as the 8-man tag continues on AEW, Kross in control of Priest on NXT. It seems like he's got a few more tats during his injury hiatus. we honestly really haven't seen Cross since he won the NXT title in a match, at least. You know, back in August, which is hard to believe. Like I said, it doesn't seem like that long ago, but it truly was if you think about it. As we're into the new year now, hopefully everyone had a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, Happy Holidays if you're one of those people. But in 2021, and other than, you know, the calendar changing, not a whole lot's changed, as expected as always. But thank you for tuning in and watching. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe on social media, links in the description below, and keep those chat questions and comments rolling. I'll get to them in a second. Cross and control Priest. Yeah, Cross should win this. Put himself over in Priest's potential final match in the NXT world before potentially going up to the main roster. Well, the rumored call-up is mentioned, but we'll see what happens there. I'm the type of person, you know, you don't believe it until you see it happen. So, Cross had a shoulder injury. He seems to be doing just perfectly fine with that right and left arm. Does seem to have put on a little weight, it looks like, but for the most part, muscle, and, you know, he'll get back to the size he was. I mean, he's still a damn good big guy. He'll get back to that strength and size that he was, you know, over time, working out all the ring rust, all the kinks. So, Priest and Cross, hashtag NXT New Year's Evil with the NYE, and then Young Buck's going to make a tag to SCU. No. Had a buckle bomb in the corner, and then actually a kick out. Now the Bucks are going to make a tag. Cover for Priest on Cross, 1, 2, and a kick out. John Moxley update, they say tonight on AEW. Not in action now. It was in action, now it's just an update. He did have a promo last week for Brody Lee, remembering him. But the big dog joins us. I'm going to knock some items off earlier. Now he's going to leave us. Don't know why, but Hybrid 2 off the ropes with a neck breaker. Yeah, there's a lot going on in pro wrestling, as there always is. There's a little bit of a merger right now, I guess you could say, little self-promotion for AEW on Impact Tuesday nights. Don't know how much longer that's going to be going on for, but yeah, Goldberg's back. Care less. That's, you know, take a nap match, piss break, if you will. Feel bad for McIntyre. Felt bad for Kevin Owens. Felt bad for the Fiend Bray Wyatt in the past. Now even feel worse for McIntyre. But some of this thinking, I tell you what, I just don't get it. Makes no sense, especially if they have him win the title again, because they have, and that's why a lot of people aren't watching. They have a whole roster, you know, of up and coming, you know, superstars or superstars that have been there that, you know, could be booked better, but they want to bring back Goldberg, who has never been able to wrestle. All he does is spear and vertical suplex, jackhammer people. He almost killed The Undertaker, for God's sakes. I mean, how much more fuel can you put to the fire to say, hey, no, like, we don't want you, we don't need you. But yet they keep bringing them back because they don't know what else to do. Yet They know what to do. They just want to piss people off. You know, Cross kick out at 2 by Priest. Frank Kazarian on the mic talking to the Young Bucks and Christopher Daniels. So we're going to see a split up of SCU here. Or is SCU going to get back to full strength with Scorpio Sky? Or are they going to challenge the Young Bucks for the tag team titles here as well, maybe? Really haven't heard Daniels or Kazarian on the mic in quite some time. We are, in fact, in the worst town they've ever been to. But, yeah, Daniels pointing to the belts. We're going to get a tag team championship match with the Young Bucks and SCU at some point. Probably next week or at Beach Break. And then they'll save Bucks and the Acclaimed for Revolution. They shake hands. And then they all celebrate together. So, Young Bucks SCU for the titles at some point. We got good old JR, Jim Ross, Excalibur, Tony Schiavone, and your demo god, the champion, Chris Jericho, on commentary this evening. They advertise Omega and Rey Fenix, the world title this evening as well. NXT going to get an overrun of about 10-15 minutes or so I've heard. Don't know why, other than the only thing I can think of, they're going to add in a segment or a match or two, especially with dropping from 5 to 4 matches. And AEW has 5 matches plus other, segments and all that filled in. Snoop Dogg tonight as well. Cody Rhodes and Matt Sydal. It'll be Cody Rhodes with Snoop Dogg rather than AA Arn Anderson. So Rhodes and Sydal, Hager and Wardlow, Sting gonna be on tonight. We just saw a monster truck in the parking lot almost head on to the tractor trailer of the AEW truck. Return of John Moxley, that's going to be up next here tonight on AEW Dynamite New Year's Smash Night 1. We also got next week the TNT Championship will be on the line. It'll be Darby Allin against the Machine, Brian Cage, Team Taz. AEW hits a commercial break. WWE NXT New Year's Evil. Hashtag NXT NYE when you share. Cross and Priest with Scarlett ringside. This technically is, yes, thank you, Beth Phoenix, the first NXT match of the new year. SmackDown, I didn't think was that bad on Friday. The Christmas episode was a little bit better. But the big dog, Tribal Chief Roman Reigns, is still on top. Whether you like it or not, it's him and Drew McIntyre with the return of Bill Goldberg then to close out Raw this past week. Legends Night, as those shows typically are, it wasn't anything special either, But got NXT tonight, and they wonder why everybody just watches either AEW or NXT and they care less about Raw or SmackDown nowadays. Or watch Wrestle Kingdom, at 3 a.m. Eastern Time, Sunday night into Monday morning, Monday night into Tuesday morning, for God's sakes. With Kota Ibushi becoming the IWGP Heavyweight Intercontinental Champion, and then defending the very next night and defeating Jay White to become the double champion and retain his titles. It's supposed to be pro wrestling, not entertainment, but then you got to add in both and mix it. That's just how it's been, and for the most part, time being moving forward, as long as Vince is around, whether he's in good health or not, that's just how it's going to be. So, I'll digress, we'll move on. Priest was about to hit a maneuver there, but Cross with a reversal and then a shoulder right to the gut in the corner. Cross going to go for a power bomb. Throws him right down on his head. Jesus Christ. Could have broke his neck. Cover 1, 2, and a kick out by Damian Priest. Back to AEW. Here comes the Mox, John Moxley.
This is big. And just the first match tonight here on NXT New Year's Evil still to come. NXT Championship on the line.
He walks out of a locker room, takes his sunglasses off. He's going to, of course, as he always does, come out through the crowd. We'll see if a fan tries to attack him like a previous time or not. It seems like they're allowing more people in, each week. Of course, still socially distanced, wear your goddamn mask, whether you want to or not. And you gotta do what you gotta do. So Mox walking down to the ring. Somebody's probably gonna come out and challenge him. He's not in ring gear. He's wearing what he would have, when he was with the Shield, or post-Shield, I should say. Pair of jeans, t-shirt. He's got his leather jacket on though, as if maybe he's gonna switch his gimmick to AEW's American Badass Biker. No, he's got a mic in his hand, so yeah, somebody's probably come out and challenge him, probably start a feud, because he really doesn't have anything to do right now after losing the AEW title to Kenny Omega about a month ago now. Cross in the meantime, 1, 2, 3, defeating Damian Priest. We'll see what happens with Priest now moving forward. Scarlett in the ring to celebrate with Cross, but we're live, both AEW and NXT this evening. Moxley hasn't been seen other than last week, of course, with his little video, his condolences, tribute to Brody Lee. In the ring, hasn't wrestled since he got screwed, so they say, by Kenny Omega. That was perfectly planned. That, looking back on it, the way that happened, I mean, of course, really got people talking, and that's what they wanted. See, Moxley, he's got his hair combed off to the side. Normally, he's just a mess. He could care less with how he looks, but maybe this is a new side to John Moxley. Maybe, a new addition to with just how, good he is, how popular he is. He's, shouldn't say average at best. He's a little bit better than that, but he's always just been popular. That's why people like him, because he doesn't give a shit. He can care less about, whatever the situation is. But in the meantime, Cross celebrating with Scarlett, defeating Damian Priest tonight at New Year's Evil. We got Santos Escobar of Legado del Fantasma taking on Gran Metalik of Lucha House Party. This match is up next. Yay. There's no way in hell Metalik becomes Cruiserweight champion and defeats Escobar this evening. I'd be shocked. Absolutely shocked if that would happen. But meantime, Moxley still on the mic. Daly's place in Jacksonville. For AEW, NXT, of course, in Orlando, right down the road at the WWE Performance Center near Capital Wrestling Center. But Moxley, as he stares down the camera, got a few things to say tonight following his return. It's supposed to be in action. Now just an update, he's talking. Of course, nobody was expecting Brody Lee to pass away. They had advertised, for the most part, most of all the matches that are taking place tonight and next week for New Year's Smash. But they've added in a few as well, plus switched some around. So We'll get more into what's to come next week, as mentioned, for New Year's Smash, but that'll be night 2 next week. But all these storylines for both AEW and NXT, more so than not, I would think AEW right now are going in a good direction. Whether it's the right direction or not, we'll find out, at some point. But Moxley done with his promo, walking out. Now we got Best Friends minus Trent, who's out with an injury. Chuck Taylor going to take on Miro next week. Orange Cassidy, really not doing a whole lot right now, but still part of Best Friends. There's Miro, formerly known as Rusev. Happy Rusev Miro Day, everyone. He's wearing, what the hell is he wearing? Jesus Christ. Getting brighter. But Miro with Kip and Penelope. At Beach Break, it'll be Kip and Penelope's wedding with the best man, Miro, by their side. Before Miro turns on Kip, and then that starts a feud with them. You already see that happen. But Dasha interviewing Best Friends and Miro along with Trent and Penelope Ford. I think Miro potentially could get Brody's spot on the card. I'm not saying he's, going to join the Dark Order by any means, but or even because, he's a former WWE wrestler, now in AEW. Just with everyone that they have, Miro might be put in that spot now. And now, going back to last week too, remember, I knew there was something that popped up on the bottom that I totally missed at the last second. We had an update then afterwards, checked in with that, and then they just announced, advertised once again, I should say, for next week, the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic going to return next week on NXT. In the meantime, Jake Hager and Wardlow set to do battle on AEW. Adam Cole and Roderick Strong interview backstage on NXT. Bobby Fish sidelined once again out with an injury. Kyle O'Reilly, the Undisputed Era, against Finn Balor tonight for the NXT Championship. Very well could see, either Cole or Strong. I would think Strong would be more of a swerve. People won't be expecting that by any means. But then Cole with Balor, maybe, for the NXT title again, okay, mind that. But then you got to go back to, some other injuries NXT's had. As late as mentioned, this is a rematch from TakeOver 31, in which both competitors tonight for the NXT title were also injured in that very match. And that's why, it's been how long since to get a rematch tonight. So, it is what it is, one way or another. But, we'll see what happens moving forward. But don't be shocked as grizzled young veterans are ringside here tonight on NXT New Year's Evil. They also just advertised a few other NXT tag teams for the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic Cup beginning next week. Lucha, no one cares about you, Grand Metalik, along with Kalisto and whoever the hell else has been in or currently is in with Lince Dorado. With the Lucha Brothers, you're not Rey Mysterio, you're not the Lucha Brothers, or Lucha House Party, I should say, for NXT. Yeah, you're not Rey Mysterio or Rey Fenix or Pentagon Jr., Penta, L0M. Of the Lucha Brothers, Lucha House Party's a joke. And Grand Metalik only in this match against Santos Escobar of Legado del Fantasma is because they needed a challenger for his cruiserweight title, because they really haven't done anything with that championship title in quite some time. Probably going back to TakeOver 31, honestly. I can't recall if they did anything or not a month ago at TakeOver War Games or not, but I mean, they might have. I mean, that was a month ago now. I mean, we've had how much go on since. Really, that's in the past. Looking towards the future. I mean, they're trying to put Santos Escobar in a good position. I mean, he's been in a good one, since becoming cruiserweight champion. But of course, trying to think of the right word. The handling of all the luchas in the WWE. And there's been a report out there too. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. The WWE is going to have their own sort of lucha underground, have their own lucha show on the network or such, potentially even on TV maybe. Say as another NXT type of show or not. They try to put them in positions that the situations they just never come to anything. Double clothesline by Hager and Wardlow on okay, they hit a split screen commercial, hashtag AEW Dynamite, hashtag NXT NYE, but no, yeah, double clothesline ringside on the floor by both Hager and Wardlow. Bell rings for Escobar and Grand Metalik. Of course, we got Vic Joseph and Bad News Wade Barrett with Beth Phoenix on commentary this evening for NXT. Beth Phoenix hasn't been in Orlando for a show in quite some time. They even tried to fill her in with somebody that didn't even look like her. Botchamania shout out, but storylines for the most part good right now, moving in a good direction as well. There's always the point, and that's why I always say it, things could always be better than what they are, and we all know that. So if only they put pen to paper, so to speak, and execute it and have these storylines continue all the success that they're having, whether it's for the cruiserweight title or a regular singles match, leading to something down the road, or the main championship. If only the success was good in the long run, but then like I always say, if only they, because go back to closing out Raw for 2020. Orton, as the lights went out, lit a match. Whether he set fire or not, we don't know. They didn't do a damn thing with that on Raw this past week because it was Legends Night. Who gives a shit? Who cares? Like it makes no sense sometimes for whatever situation it is. But that's why I say it seems like all they care about is the goddamn ring. We got to beat this. We got to beat that. Yeah, but you're beating yourself because you're not, whether it's a short-term or a long-term answer, you're not doing yourself any good. But no, if only they, of course, had everything become settled and finalized. As we're back from the split screen commercial, so we're back full screen on both the AEW and NXT with this Cruiserweight Championship match with Escobar and Grand Metalik along with Jake Hager and Wardlow. Inner Circle actually up on the stage with Jericho on commentary. They know as much as we do, as always. You know, these stories could be 10 times better than what they are. But I get you got to book, you know, 52 weeks of TV basically, you know, year after year after year. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day. I get it, you know, so we'll see what happens with both these matches. But we, in the meantime, as we just come back from a split screen on AEW, we hit a split screen on NXT. So, split screen commercial on WWE NXT with Santos Escobar and Grand Metalik with Legado del Fantasma and Lucha House Party ringside. We've got Jake Hager and Wardlow on AEW with the Inner Circle up on the entrance stage. Hager seems to be in control right now. They haven't done a damn thing with him hardly since he's entered the company. I've called him MJF's bodyguard because basically that's all he's been. Hager's been in a not a better spot, but they've done more with him because they know what he's got, because he's a former, you know, champion elsewhere. Has won a few MMA fights as well. And that's why sometimes you don't see him on TV, and then that adds into this, you know, storyline because he's, you know, getting ready for fight camp, and then in fight camp, big power slam there by Swagger. Jake's kick out at 2 by Wardlow. Jake Hager's in a good position with AEW, as Wardlow is too. They're both in the Inner Circle now, but you know, it adds into the story with, you know, him not being there all the time, and along with Wardlow not being there. And then Hager called him out, and you know, like I said, they were supposed to have this last week, now tonight, because things have been pushed back due to circumstances with the passing of Bray Lee, which of course that came first. Hell of a tribute they put on last week when we found out the breaking news that he passed away, and then even, you know, last week, where it was a little tough to, you know, talk, you know, let alone watch a show. Gone way too soon, you know, still, you know, tough, hard to think about, not over it. Just total shock. But back to WWE NXT and AEW, kick out at 2 by Hager. Sammy Guevara's got a new hairdo, it looks like. But Escobar up on the top rope, gonna throw down Grand Metalik, who, along with Kalisto and Lince Dorado, for some unknown reason, are still on the goddamn roster. Don't know why, but they are. So we'll leave it at that. You know, they'll keep around somebody of their star caliber, if you will, wink wink, but cut and get rid of whoever they got rid of, you know, this past spring, which was last year now, which I totally get. You know, money's a factor, you know, they're trying to, but it's just, come on, man. It's like, you know, some kick out at 2. Some as Escobar right to the back of Grand Metalik. 1, 2, 3 with Wardlow picking up the win over Jake Hager. So Wardlow, hey, I don't have to be around all the time now. I just beat Jake Hager, who's really not around a whole lot either. MJF's going to have an upper hand now on Jericho in the Inner Circle. Wardlow with the win over Hager. Hager called him out. So 1, 2, 3 there on the replay. Wardlow with the win over Jake Hager. As MJF aids to Wardlow, the rest of the Inner Circle over to Jake Hager, Jack Swagger. Now they're going to stare each other down and shake hands, it looks like. Fist bump. Alright. Find out who the alpha dog is. Well, Wardlow just won that. Maybe we have a couple more matches with those two down the line. Or maybe Wardlow's finally going to turn on MJF. Or MJF's going to turn on everyone in the inner circle, which he probably will at some point. Now we got Private Party backstage on AEW with and Snoop Dogg going to make an appearance. And then Matt Hardy, the iconic Matt Hardy. Very well could be an option for the Dark Order, maybe. He's got a purple shirt and a gray blazer. But Private Party there, they had some type of drink. It looked like a liquor bottle. Whether liquor was actually in it or not, I don't know. But then Snoop Dogg walks up and it looks like cranberry juice. Slams a bottle of that down. But Matt Hardy and Private Party with Snoop Double OG. Snoop Doggy Dogg on AEW. Now Private Party signing some contracts. AEW teasing, you know, maybe at some point, you know, talk about NXT or WWE in general having their own lucha show. AEW's teased, you know, Trios Championships. They have the talent to do so. We'll see if they do go down that line. All right, now we got Team Taz. Here comes Ricky Starks with the FTW champion and Brian Cage, Will Hobbs, and then Taz and his son, and Dr. Hook. Team Taz, I mean, that's 5-on-5 with, you know, the inner circle. That's 5-on-5 with Team Taz and, you know, the baby faces, if you will, of AEW. You know, Cody right now, along with Darby and Sting and the Young Bucks, potentially. You know, they tease that, so we'll see what happens. And that's why we always sit back and watch. So Lince Dorado just took everyone out ringside from Legado del Fantasma. Once again, sorry for any technical difficulties. But then Metalik with a pin in the ring, kick out of 2. Now Escobar back in control. Nice. Power slam 1, 2, 3. Santos Escobar, your winner. He will retain his Cruiserweight Championship over Grand Metalik tonight on WWE NXT New Year's Evil. Rhea Ripley now warming up backstage. And it seems like coming up next, it'll be Rhea Ripley and Raquel Gonzalez in the last woman standing matchup. Still to come on NXT. So they'll hit a commercial break. And now, what do we got? Oh, this is her potential return. Try to make her a powerhouse in the women's division. She's going to be up next on NXT, it sounds like. All right.
This chicken sandwich tastes like somebody's
So some injuries, some superstars that haven't been used. Gonna
Shout out to the inventors who took an old way like Stephanie from CarMax. She suggested test drive should last
try to make an impact at least,
because sometimes
if you will,
isn't good enough.
coming up
Should be. CarMax.
shortly. In the meantime, on AEW, here comes Darby Allin. So they're gonna have a TNT Championship match tonight. Is that why Cage is in the ring? This was advertised for next week. Oh, they're gonna have a weigh-in. All right, and go back to the weigh-in. Then a weigh-in, I don't think, since Jericho and Moxley late. It would have been 2019. That would have been, just a little over a year ago now. It seems like that was in a November or December episode of AEW. With Team Taz in the ring, Taz with Brian Cage, Hobbs and Starks as well. Darby Allin's going to take them all out with a skateboard. Okay, Cage going to weigh in. Tony Schiavone doing the honors. So a weigh-in before the TNT title match next week now, night 2 of AEW Dynamite New Year's Smash. Brian Cage, the Wolverine himself, Darby Allin, this generation's, with the face paint at least, Sting or Jeff Hardy. So they're both going to weigh in here now before the championship match next week. Darby Allin's going to retain. Cage already has the FTW title that they haven't done shit with. They're still hyping up Team Taz, of course, here, but there's at some point it's only so much you can do with trying to get somebody over. If it's not working, it's not working. But like I said, they only have 2 hours to fill, as NXT does as well, and you got the whole year to do it. But they're supposed to be the heels. They really don't have any other heels other than the Inner Circle as a 5-man group. So now Taz and Darby on the mic, but Sting sort of aligned himself with Darby last week. I could see Sting potentially turning on Darby then in the matchup, or interfering and costing the title, or helping him win, but then turning on him afterwards. And then, your TNT Championship feud moving forward after that would be, Darby Allin and Sting. That would get people tuned in, I think. But now Darby Allin with a skateboard, Tony Schiavone going to pick up the mic. Hobbs, I think, has the most potential out of anybody on Team Taz. Meantime, lights go out, so Sting going to make his appearance tonight on AEW Dynamite New Year's Smash Night 1 now. Here he comes. It's Sting! Schiavone running back to commentary to get it in as the snow falls. Team Taz looking all around. Where is he at? There he is. There's Sting. Sting. Want to get into him and Goldberg. 10 times better than Bill Goldberg. Only because in the past, he's been able to wrestle. He's a good wrestler. Goldberg's not. That's the difference. I don't get why people ever like Goldberg by any means. The streak wasn't 100 and whatever it was in a row. So they say, they just kept adding. Like 1 week it was 20-0. The next day he was 76-0. How the hell did you wrestle another 56 matches? In a day or a week? But no. They both sort of have their so-called legends, so get over it. In the meantime, Xia Li's supposed to be on NXT now. The hell is this entrance? Alright. I feel like I'm watching the third Mummy movie right now. Alright. Yeah. Okay. What's that supposed to mean? Cool entrance. Badass entrance. I'll give him that. But then who the hell is that still sitting up on the throne at the entrance?
I think it's safe to say transformation complete.
Renovation of a human being from top to bottom inside.
And then Katrina Cortez gonna be the victim. Alright.
Yeah, Zaya and Boa, I mean, possibly being retrained to ignore pain and
Xia Li with Boa or Boy, if I'm not mistaken. Depending. So in the meantime, we'll have Cody Rhodes and Matt Sydal coming up shortly on AEW. Along with, hey YouTube, let me know why all these technical difficulties are now once again happening. I haven't had one in quite some time, but now maybe I'm making up for it. Sorry for any technical difficulties with buffering, disconnect, and reconnect, if you are in fact right now watching. But Xia Li going to pick the win on NXT New Year's Evil tonight. Technical difficulties. Buffering, disconnect, reconnect. Don't understand it once again. Shouldn't be like this, but for some reason, yeah, here we are. So, YouTube, if you're listening, watching, let me know why the hell I am having technical difficulties with this live stream. No reason for it. I understand it, you know, that it happens every once in a while, but it doesn't need to be happening all the goddamn time. So, figure it out. I know, I get you guys have, you know, tried to do better as of late with, you know, streaming for YouTube, you know, whether it be your typical stream or even mobile or however you stream on YouTube. You know, and you can only do so much at once. I totally understand, but there's still no reason that needs to happen all the time. No excuse. That's why I always say sometimes it feels like it's just only happening to me because, yeah, here we are with it happening again. But the year of Xia Li in NXT. The Chinese Zodiac, says Bad News Wade Barrett. Now we've got some breaking news from Regal. This is going to be about Ciampa and Thatcher.
After confirming with NXT's medical staff, unfortunately, Timothy Thatcher suffered a minor injury while training for tonight's fight.
Thatcher was injured training.
Proper rehab. Mr. Thatcher should be back to action soon.
He's going to be back to action soon.
For tonight's match, our team could not clear him in good conscience. As soon as Mr. Thatcher heals, he and Tommaso Ciampa will sort out their differences.
Okay, so whenever Thatcher's good enough to come back, they'll have the fight pit match then with Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher. Now Bronson Reed about to get interviewed. And I don't think I've ever heard him talk before. He's never really interviewed or allowed to, you know, cut promos up until now. Bronson Reed is putting all of NXT on notice. Meantime, on AEW Dynamite last night on AEW Dark, Brody Lee Jr., almost as big as Marco Stunt of Jurassic Express, cutting a promo on him. Brody Jr. getting over, no doubt about it. Now, is that Brody Jr.? Oh no, that's Marco Stunt. Getting interviewed right now currently by Alex Marvez with Jurassic Express. Jurassic Express up against FTR next week during night 2 of New Year's Smash. FTR now interrupting Jurassic Express. So you got Tully Blanchard and FTR with Jurassic Express. Oh, Marco Stein. But they've done a whole lot with Jungle Boy or Luchasaurus as of late. But, you know, it's tough too for everyone. You know, adding into everything I've said, you know, tonight and in the past. When you don't have fans, you know, live at the show, in the stands, asses in the seat, it's tough. You know, it's tough. But you still got to move on. You know, you still got to put on a damn good show. So Rhea Ripley, in the meantime, making her entrance. It'll be Rhea Ripley and Raquel Gonzalez in a last woman standing match. So they'll probably give this, what, a half hour, and then a half hour for Balor and O'Reilly, because they don't have anything else advertised, especially after the postponement to Ciampa and Thatcher. Meantime, here comes Matt Sydal. Hopefully doesn't botch anything up against Cody Rhodes tonight on AEW, kicking off the new year. But yeah, we've already seen Cross defeat Priest, Escobar defeat Metalik. Supposed to get Ciampa and Thatcher. Thatcher injured. They'll fight at a later date. We did get Xia Li against the Jobber, but now Rhea Ripley and Raquel Gonzalez, followed by Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly. Here comes Cody Rhodes with Snoop Dogg. No Arn Anderson. Snoop Dogg's coming out with Cody tonight. Cody Rhodes and Snoop Dogg versus Matt Sydal. Snoop just going to be ringside. I'm sure he'll get involved in the finish. But it's 9 o'clock hour. Here comes Snoop Dogg. People need to tune in. So you got the American Nightmare and the American Grass Eater. Snoop Dogg. A double hizzle. And they got a lot of Cody and Snoop Dogg head cardboard cutouts. So Snoop and Cody just hugged it out with the ref. You don't see that very often. But bell rings, match underway. Cody Rhodes and Matt Sydal, Evan Bourne, with Snoop Dogg ringside. Maybe Arn Anderson will still come out. They had Cody and Arn advertised, but then they switch it to Snoop Dogg. So Snoop's got his play sheet. He's acting as the coach tonight. Maybe Arn Anderson, you know, wasn't cleared to, you know, go out for some reason. I don't know. Or maybe they'll, you know, hold off and have him interfere in the finish. You'd think since Snoop's out there, he's going to do something. He's acting as he has a headset on now, and he's talking into his play sheet, you know, as if, you know, he's talking to an assistant coach, you know, on the sideline there next to him or up in the booth. Hey, what should we do here? You know, but that's what, as Arn Anderson normally does, coach up Cody. That's what Snoop's doing tonight. Cody Rhodes, Matt Sydal in singles competition with a last woman standing match going on in NXT with Rhea Ripley and Raquel Gonzalez. So once again, thank you for tuning in and watching. Kick out at 2. kendo stick right to the back, Raquel Gonzalez. Anything goes. Last woman standing. Rhea, you would think, too, eventually is going to get called up to the main roster. Both these companies, especially AEW, they need to figure out their women's division. I've said it time and time again for far way too long. Rhea was going to go for a drop kick there to the through the steel chair, I should say, actually, that Raquel was holding up. I don't think she got a whole lot of it, and then quickly fell on her back. But now Rhea just got thrown in the barricade. So Raquel Gonzalez in control here with some kendo sticks once again to the back, returning the favor to Rhea Ripley. But yeah, both these companies need to figure out their women's division moving forward. I mean, Britt Baker has to be the top contender for Sheeta. I mean, it just, I get you're trying to build them up and, you know, have their character get to whatever point you wanted at, but at some point you got to do something with it, you know. But then some instances, some circumstance, or situation is, like I said, there's only so much you can do, you know, with trying to get somebody over. So it is what it is. But Rhea now with some handcuffs right to the cage plexiglass barricade that NXT has. Raquel Gonzalez only working with her left arm now because her right hand is handcuffed to that barricade. There comes Rhea with a kendo stick shot right to the back. No, a reversal and a kick right to the head, the left leg of Raquel Gonzalez to Rhea Ripley, and then Raquel actually rips her hand, still handcuffed, by the way, too, through the caged barricade and rips that part out. Of course, they probably had that fixed from earlier, but now we're back to an even, for the most part, playing field, even though Raquel has her right hand still handcuffed and there's still some cage attached to it. But Raquel Gonzalez and Rhea Ripley, a last woman standing match. And now a hammer and then a headbutt off the ring bell, yeah, in the timekeeper's area. Last woman standing, 2 count. The only way you win is to make sure your opponent does not answer the count of 10. 5 count. Rhea Ripley back up on her feet. They're going to break apart the announce table, split screen commercial on AEW. Snoop Dogg going to put up his hood. Cody Rhodes and Matt Sydal in singles competition. Cody's going to win. You would think Cody's going to win at least. How you doing, buddy? That big dog. You haven't really joined us a whole lot lately. I mean, you have, but you haven't. You haven't been up here with me. You've been ringside, so to speak. Yeah, what are you doing? You enjoying some wrestling tonight? You want more snow, don't you? Yeah. You want more snow playing outside. You probably won't get it for a couple weeks. I know, that sucks, doesn't it? Just like that jogger against Xia Li. She sucked, didn't she? Yeah. They're going to take a split screen picture-in-picture commercial break as well, so. 2 at the same time. Split screen commercials for AEW and NXT. Alright. Now we'll come back from the AEW split screen with Cody going to defeat Matt Sydal, and then I mean, you would think Rhea is probably going to defeat Raquel Gonzalez. Raquel's sort of Dakota Kai's bodyguard, if you will. this feud, this storyline goes superplex off top rope to Matt Sydal, both down and out. Hashtag AEW Dynamite, hashtag WWE NXT when we share. Snoop counting 1, 2. Yeah. Matt Sydal breaks the count. I wonder if he thinks Cody and Sydal are doing as good of a job as his two uncles at his family's barbecue or not. Sydal with a knee, supposed to hit Cody right in the face, hit him in the chest. Sydal now going to go up top. Don't botch this. Don't slip and fall like you did. Maybe get RKO'd off the top rope. Cody gets his knees up in the meantime on the splash. Cody going to go for a crossroads. 1, 2, kick out. Actually, it was more of a straight down, I guess you could call that a reverse DDT. The neck of Matt Sydal, the back of his head hit first rather than a normal DDT face first. But Sydal now reversing, has Cody in a submission in the middle of the ring. I don't know if there's a term for what he actually just did. That's what I said. It looked like a reverse DDT. I don't know what they called it by any means on commentary, but that's what it looked like. Sydal with a kick. Clothesline then all over the ropes into the barricade ringside goes Cody to Matt Sydal. Because like I said, it looked like he was going to go for the crossroads and then hit what he hit. Crossroad. NXT chance along with AEW chance. Cody with a kick off the ropes. Cody now with a cover. 1, 2, kick out by Sydal. Match continues. As this last women's standing match does as well. On WWE NXT, it's Rhea Ripley and Raquel Gonzalez, as we have Cody Rhodes and Matt Sydal on AEW Dynamite New Year's Smash and New Year's Evil, bringing in the new year.
No pinfall, no countout, no submission, no disqualification. Again, the only way to win, incapacitate your opponent so they cannot reach their feet by the count of 10. In fact, Gonzalez has been in control.
Kick out at 2 by Cody on the quick roll up there by Sydal. That's interesting. That's sort of popped up before for this. Something new on here. Now Rhea and Raquel fighting backstage through a door, breaking the glass. A spear from Rhea Ripley to Raquel Gonzalez. Cody Rhodes with the crossroads. 1, 2, 3 on Matt Sydal. Picking up the win on Snoop. Doggy dog. Woof woof. Here comes Luther. And that is, give me a second, help me out if you will, that is, shit. Angelico? That is who Sammy Guevara dressed up as recently. For sure that's who that is, right? Alright, Snoop Dogg's going to go up top, off the top rope. Snoop off the top rope. This will have everyone talking. He's telling Cody and Sydal, hey, bring him in a little bit closer. I'm gonna do something here off the top rope. Snoop Dogg off the top rope with a splash. What the hell was that? Cover. Cody with the pin. 1, 2, 3. Actually, the count as the ref. Snoop Dogg with the win. That was an awful splash off the top rope. Awful, but Snoop Dogg is Snoop Dogg. So we'll leave it at that.
In this last women's standing match here at NXT New Year's Evil, Ripley is way up in the air.
Cody Rhodes with the win over Matt Sydal. Snoop Dogg with the win as well. Sydal actually helped out Cody with the attack post-match. And then they both helped out Snoop, you know, with the finish there. Yeah, that'll have everyone talking. Yeah, I don't know what the hell that was supposed to be, Jesus Christ. That was an awful splash. Maybe the worst splash of all time. Off the top rope in the World Professional Wrestling. Here comes Dakota Kai from behind. Dakota Kai with a kendo stick right to the back of Rhea Ripley now. Kick right to the side of the head as well. So this last woman standing match continues. Anything goes. Dakota Kai helping out Raquel Gonzalez. And then Rhea with a big right hand. Snoop Dogg now over on commentary. Talking it out with Jericho, Excalibur, JR, and Shivani. And they're hyping up the Go Big show. That'll debut tomorrow. Rhodes and Snoop Dogg as judges. And Rhea Ripley in the meantime gonna lock Dakota Kai into a gym locker that is set up backstage, and then moves a Dakota Kai is now locked into that locker until somebody moves that luggage that she just put in front of it. Raquel Gonzalez now with a steel chair right to the side of Rhea. Rhea gonna try to hit a reversal here. Last woman standing. Only way to win is to make sure your opponent does not answer the count on 10. So no pinfall, no submission by any means. Rhea's got Raquel on a submission right now with a steel chair. They're up on the stage by the entrance. But until one of these two doesn't stand up within 10 seconds, the match is going to continue on here. Glitch with the big X for NXT on the entrance. That, of course, was used WrestleMania 30. Rhea just reversed and hit a suplex to Raquel into that. Rhea up on her feet first at 7. 8 count. Raquel up now as well at 9. So match going to continue. And, you know, for the most part, they'll let this drag out a little bit longer probably, because we got some time from now until the start of Balor and O'Reilly, especially with some overrun maybe, so they have said. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But as mentioned earlier, talk about AEW New Year's Smash Night 2 next week. Got some good matches then as well. I'm sure they'll advertise, maybe even add in a few more from now until then. In the meantime, they go through the stage. Actually, of course, a set like that to break. We might have a double count out. 7 count now. Raquel Gonzalez up on her feet first. 9. And Raquel Gonzalez is going to defeat Rhea Ripley in the last woman standing match tonight on NXT New Year's Evil. But it'll be Shida coming up next, defending her AEW Women's Championship against Abaddon on Dynamite New Year's Smash Night 1. Next week, New Year's Smash Night 2. As mentioned, with Chuck Taylor and Miro, along with FTR and Jurassic Express, we'll have Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker as we talk about these women's matches that are currently going on. Pac and Eddie Kingston as well. That should be a damn good match. Darby Allin and Brian Cage as well for the TNT title. I mean, out of any of those, give me Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker along with Pac and Eddie Kingston and the other week. More so the latter than not. But then also discuss the Dark Order with, potential new leaders maybe at some point. No Dark Order tonight or even next week. It seems like, after last week, they'll let it die down, regroup, see what they're going to do with them, and then go from there. But I said last week, Marty Scurll, in my opinion, especially now with him officially no longer being employed by Ring of Honor, I think he would make a damn good, whether he's going to be the Exalted One, 2.0, or you think they come up with another name for him. The Dark Order would be that group then that, has had, different leaders over the course of however long. Brody Lee would sort of be the god, and then, disciples as Rollins as the Messiah, Ed Buddy Murphy. For real though, Brody Lee's gone. He could be a god, and then whoever they choose then moving forward, they could always look up to him. It could be Marty Scurll. In the meantime, on NXT, we got a parade of Garganos. The Gargano Way, the Way, as they're calling them. Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae, with Austin Theory, who returned, who's eventually going to turn on him. Gargano is your current NXT North American champion. There's also somebody else in that group now as well. A lot of groups, a lot of factions, whether men, women, tag teams, not a whole lot anymore. They're just going to, for the most part, put together whoever the hell they feel like putting together. But Maria, as we're in the split screen, we got Snoop Dogg in a commercial on NXT, when in the meantime he was just on AEW. But of course, this commercial's been running for quite some time because he has his hand in a lot of things. Meantime, Abaddon gonna drag Sheeta underneath the ring. But we got a parade currently going on NXT with the Garganos, Rhea Ripley being helped to her feet following her loss against Raquel Gonzalez. But I think Marty Scurll on Hangman and Page, Lance Archer right now probably make the most sense. More so not Hangman because he's already tied up. They teased on being the Elite this past week as well. He walked up. All the Dark Order were sitting there. There was an empty chair. Hey, can I sit down? Yeah. And then it cut. So they'll build off that, you would think. So you have Marty Scurll, Hangman and Page, along with Lance Archer, Colt Cabana, who's already in the Dark Order. Maybe said Scorpio Sky of SCU. With SCU now, just regular tag team, back to normal. No Scorpio Sky. Really not doing a whole lot with him. Sean Spears in the same boat. Dustin Rhodes, Goldust and Nightmare Family maybe turns on Cody, as they had the Nightmare Family and Dark Order storyline going there, with the dog collar match, with Brody's final match in AEW, of course, against Cody Rhodes. Maybe Dustin turns on Cody and joins the Dark Order. But then, as mentioned earlier, with even Matt Hardy being teased going back to when they both debuted for AEW this past March, trying to become iconic now. So we'll see what happens there. Meantime, once again, split screen commercials for both AEW and NXT. But now back on NXT, parade of sirens with Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae there. They're waving to nobody. There's literally, there's a few cameramen running with the cars. But yeah, the Gargano way, the way, going to show up to the WWE PC here soon. It looks like, as they are throwing their own parade in victory. But we'll have Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly coming up next. Even Anna Jay, 99 in the Dark Order. I think, if they'd want to boost the women's division, she would be a good fit, maybe. Welcome, South Korea. So NXT now being shown in South Korea. And now these sirens are getting closer. These sirens have arrived in Orlando at the WWE Capital Wrestling Center, the PC Performance Center. And here come the Garganos. Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae, his wife, have arrived. What is that, a Chevy Camaro? And Theory was the one driving, it looks like, with, who the hell that girl? So now Gargano being added in tonight, minus the match with Ciampa and Thatcher, as we saw Xia Li pick up a win earlier as well. You do what you got to do. The Way, that's what they're calling them. You couldn't have come up with anything better than The Way. So as Gargano and company are in the ring, we're going to have a "You Suck" chant, along with a showing of a portrait, maybe, that Dexter Lumis painted as he's hosting New Year's Evil tonight. Haven't seen him since the start of the show, though. There's something hidden in the middle of the ring, covered up, that they're about to show off here. Maybe Theory's going to turn on Gargano now. I've never liked Gargano, can't stand him. I like Ciampa better. He's going to talk about the Cleveland Browns, who are going to lose on Sunday against the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right, whatever. Be sure to go check out my NFL playoff predictions if you haven't done so already, right here on the channel. The best, real handsome, and sweetest dancer that Candice probably knows too well. She's not wearing a cast, though, on her arm anymore, it doesn't look like, so that's a good sign, following her injury last month. More "You Suck" chants, but he was just saying that was really the only thing he's, been cursed with as of late, because the Browns are back in the playoffs. The curse. Alright, they show off a plaque following the NXT year-end awards last week. Telling, as Theory tells him, hey, you're a real-life superhero. You're going to tell him Candice's sidekick, she's beautiful. Sheeta going to retain her miniature AEW Women's Championship title belt. They need to do something with the women's division. I tell you what, Jesus Christ. 1, 2, 3. They're going to unveil whatever the hell this is. Alright, it's a comic book painting of The Way. Gargano Way, Johnny Gargano with a dog. Candice LeRae, and then Austin Theory looks like he is all muscle and has a little tiny head. And then whoever the hell the other girl is, I still don't know her name. Chuck Taylor and Miro next week on AEW, along with Darby Allin and Brian Cage. Serena Deeb and Tay Conte as well for the NWA Women's World Heavyweight Championship. Alright, now we got some Dark Order backstage, wearing Brody Lee t-shirts. Alright, so Johnny Gargano and Austin Theory are going to enter the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. Here comes Shotzi Blackheart. howling like a wolf. She's going to go after Candace. Theory, I can't stand hardly anymore either. The Elite in action next week on New Year's Smash. Good for Theory. He just got cannonballed from the tank of Shotzi right in the gonads. Pac and Eddie Kingston, Jurassic Express, and FTR next week as well for New Year's Smash Night 2. So yeah, Shotzi seems like Candace is good to go. It'll be Shotzi and Candace at some point. What is the Inner Circle's New Year's resolution? We'll also have Dr. Britt Baker's waiting room. I'd assume a new talk show. They'll have she'll have special guest Cody Rhodes next week with, of course, Reba by her side. Coming up next, Kenny Omega and Rey Fenix on AEW Dynamite for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Dexter Lumis now ringing the bell. He is hosting New Year's Evil tonight, just as Shotzi Blackheart hosted Halloween Havoc. Dexter Lumis gonna show off another painting. It'll be Kushida and Shotzi, as Kushida's in the ring, versus Gargano and Candice LeRae. And this match is going to take place right now next on NXT New Year's Evil. So then we will get overrun with Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly for the NXT Championship. So as Kushida came to the aid of Shotzi Blackheart, Dexter Lumis came out, rang the bell, showed off his painting, announcing the upcoming, now official bell is rung tag team match with Kushida and Shotzi Blackheart versus Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae. Match underway. Candice and Shotzi gonna kick us off. So looks like Candice is good to go, not injured anymore, which is a good sign. But the Death Triangle now with Pac and the Lucha Brothers. A group Eddie Kingston tried to take away from Pac. Pac returned. We got Pac and Kingston next week. Kingston's aligned himself with the Butcher and Blade since. But right now in AEW, it'll be Omega and Rey Fenix for the War Balor and O'Reilly for the next title now. So a few add-ins with segments and matches for NXT, you know, because of the Fight Pit match being postponed to a later date with Timmy Thatcher's injury. I get it. You got to do what you got to do. I mean, the Gargano Way parade was a good, just not fill-in, but a good prequel to the promo with the paintings, and then this match being announced from our host this evening, Dexter Lumis, and the tag team match now underway, of course. So, of the Xia Li jobber match with her return, that add-in and this, of course, Kushida and Shotzi Blackheart against Gargano and Candice LeRae is the better of the two. You know, maybe Kushida is going to be a challenger for Gargano's NXT North American title at some point. Gargano and Theory, however, they just announced they're going to be in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. That'll begin next week as well. So that's returning. See how long that goes on for, of course. Probably a good month and a half or so, probably a month to the next TakeOver event or TV special. That, who knows, you know, when that'll be, as mentioned earlier. Hoping for a St. Valentine's Day Massacre takeover. And we got Halloween Havoc. Why not have a WWE NXT St. Valentine's Day Massacre takeover event on Valentine's Day, Sunday, February the 14th? Because normal, rather than Saturdays, as they previously were. So, you know, it's a little over a month away. why not? But now a double commercial break for both as this tag team match continues. We got the cleaner Kenny Omega coming out as he's about ready to defend his AEW World Heavyweight Championship against Ray Phoenix on Dynamite New Year's Smash Night 1. We got Snoop Dogg and Cody Rhodes though up top for this Go Big Show with some dude with a skateboard, not Darby Allin, or actually he's got a tricycle, and he's gonna. All right, they tease us. And we're gonna have to tune in later. It looked like he was gonna go down and jump something, go down the ramp and jump over whatever. Yeah, it seems like it's America's Got Talent, but it's, bigger and it's not better, but more badass things happening. There's like some guy eating snakes. Evil Knievel coming back and jumping some cars. We'll see how that turns out. 1, 2, kick out by Shotzi. It's Kushida and Shotzi Blackheart versus Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae. Dexter Lumis now on commentary. He is the host of New Year's Evil this evening. He really doesn't talk a whole lot. He's a different kind of cat, no doubt about it, but at least they're doing something with them, filling in for the host. They're going back to who's hosting these shows. Kushida with a drop kick on Gargano. Yeah, give me Kushida beating Gargano at some point for the North American title. Finally doing something with Johnny Gargano. Or Kushida, excuse me. Defeating Gargano, maybe. Because they really haven't done a whole lot with Kushida. I mean, this time last year, him and Shelley were teaming together as a tag team. He left to go back to TNA Impact. Steve Machine Guns are back together. They're going to take on the Good Brothers and Omega at Impact Hard to Kill a week from Saturday. So some crossovers with companies, of course. Rope break now. Gargano with a rope break. So, yeah, as always, a lot going on in pro wrestling, and that's as always why we have to sit down and watch and see what the hell is going to happen, because if you don't watch for a week or however long it is, night, week, month, year, a lot that can happen in that short amount of time. And you're like, well, what the hell's going on here? And then you got to sit back down and get yourself back into it, and I'll move on from there. So Kushida and Gargano going at it. Some chops, right hands. Sky's the limit for Kushida if they book him right. Candice LeRae going to get involved. Gonna create a roadblock there for Kushida as he's about ready to kick Gargano's head in. And then Kushida moves out of the way. Hit her right hand on Gargano. Gargano almost hit Candice. Shotzi now in, going after Candice. However, the legal competitors are Kushida and Johnny Gargano. So yeah, Shotzi and Kushida are going to win this. Double kick. Kushida off the ropes. might even have a finish for this. Just count them out, walk away. Suicide dive from Shotzi. Oh, shit, she hit hard. Right to Candice LeRae ringside. And then Theory still ringside. He got hit in the nuts by Shotzi's tank a little bit ago. More NXT chants. Shotzi gonna roll Candice in the ring as Kushida rolls Johnny Gargano into the ring. Theory from behind now. Ref didn't see it. Throwing down Kushida. Ref now to Austin Theory. Hey, what the hell did you just do? As he's up on the ropes. Ref gonna throw out Austin Theory. Actually, Kushida gonna pick him up and then throw him into the ring. Here comes Gargano from behind. And then, yeah, they're playing with Austin Theory this evening. More so it was lower body than not. And then a quick roll up 1, 2, 3 for Kushida on Johnny Gargano, picking up the win for Kushida and Shotzi Blackheart over the Garganos with Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae here this evening during NXT New Year's Eve. Kushida chance. Yeah, Kushida needs to go after Gargano in the NXT North America title now. We'll see what they're going to do with Velveteen Dream. I mean, they fought recently. You know, they had him return. They sort of, as of late, when he returns and they get all the negative feedback, you know, we haven't seen him, you know, a whole lot since. Now we fade to black. However, here's our next takeover event. It'll be NXT TakeOver. Just NXT TakeOver. Okay? It will be on Valentine's Day. Wade Barrett and Vic Joseph are going to spend Valentine's Day together now. No, it's TakeOver. Alright, so just an NXT TakeOver. They haven't added in the St. Valentine's Day Massacre name. Or if they're even going to do that because of Massacre. I don't know. But the next TakeOver will in fact be on Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day night. Sunday, February the 14th, 2021. A little over a month from now. That's the next NXT TakeOver. It's just the current NXT TakeOver event. You know, we'll see if they change the name or not from now until then. They should. Should do something Valentine's Day-ish, you know. But at least we know when the next TakeOver event's going to be. Just hopeful that they will change it to St. Valentine's Day TakeOver. Yeah, you don't have to have Massacre in it, but do, you know, go back to, you know, you got a St. Valentine's Day Massacre pay-per-view, you know, a little over 2 decades ago now. Why not, you know, bring that back as you brought back In Your House and Halloween Havoc. Now you got New Year's Evil. You're allowed to say evil, but not Massacre. Like, New Year's Smash, New Year's Evil with the devil, for God's sakes, in your logo. But just a plain, bland as hell takeover for Valentine's Day. The same day NASCAR will return as well with the Daytona 500. Why not have a, you know, takeover Valentine's Day night event with that in the name? Just not a, you know, normal takeover. You know, NXT TakeOver, it would technically be the 33rd in the Chronicle, if I'm not mistaken. But, or 34th. But, yeah, we'll see. So that's TakeOver, the first TakeOver of 2021. The TakeOver, NXT TakeOver. There's no name for it right now. You know, normally they have a name set for it, but maybe in the meantime they're still. No, but we don't have it. agreed upon yet. It's not set. It's not finalized. It may bounce on, of course, what the next takeover event's name is going to be, rather than just a simple NXT takeover. Like, come on, give me a break. Especially when it's on, Valentine's Day. Have it be St. Valentine's Day takeover. Whether it's St. Valentine's Day Massacre takeover or just a simple St. Valentine's Day takeover name for the event or not. Okay, whatever. Beats me. Just do one or the other. Just don't have a simple takeover. But we'll see what happens. We got the Undisputed Era versus Breezango, along with a few other tag team matches, as the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic will begin next week on WWE NXT. However, we got William Regal now backstage. Interview with the GM. And the first part of 2021 for NXT will be the return of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. And they're going to have a women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, as well as they get Dexter Lumis involved with that, drawing a picture. There's Pete Dunne and Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan, your NXT Tag Team Champions. So whoever wins the Tag Team Classic will become the new #1 contenders for the NXT Tag Team titles. Now, in the meantime, we're going to shock the system. Here comes Kyle O'Reilly, Undisputed Era. It'll be Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly for the NXT Championship here tonight in the main event of WWE NXT New Year's Evil. In the meantime, on AEW Dynamite New Year's Smash, we got Kenny Omega and Rey Fenix still going at it for the AEW World Heavyweight title. Omega's no doubt going to win this. He's not going to be losing the title for quite some time. But at least they're giving Rey Fenix the championship match that he got but didn't get due to some circumstances. But here comes Kyle O'Reilly by himself. I'm sure the UE with Cole and Strong, no Bobby Fish once again because he's injured again. They'll come out and interfere to close out the match. Yeah, we'll probably get some overrun. We got 15 minutes to the top of the hour. So we'll get a commercial break probably right before 10 o'clock. Or they'll come out of a commercial break, come back right before 10 o'clock, and then go to 5-10 after, and then be done with it. But now here comes the Prince, Finn Balor, your NXT champion. A rematch, once again, from TakeOver 31 in October, in which both superstars were injured. So, of course, from then until now, I should say, we haven't gotten a rematch until tonight. Maybe Ridge Holland is healthy. Maybe he's going to be coming back. He interfered. I think they'd be smart to hold off on McAfee until the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, but then maybe even Ridge Holland, because Ridge was, going after the Undisputed Era, following Balor's first title defense as champion, after becoming NXT champion once again, following Karrion Kross's injury, and then defeating, of course, Ciampa and Gargano, and then Adam Cole to become NXT champion, and then he beat O'Reilly. I don't believe he's defended the title since because of all the injuries that NXT's had, hit by the injury bug. Wrong time here, everybody all at once again. But now back, for the most part, full strength. Here we go. So, Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly for the NXT Championship coming up next on NXT New Year's Evil. One fall. No commercial breaks. Not even a split screen. I doubt that. We'll see. I don't know. Bell rings, match underway. They say no commercial breaks for this main event championship match for the NXT title with Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly. They lock up middle of the ring. O'Reilly now behind Balor. Got about 10 minutes before Omega beats Ray Phoenix. Maybe Moxley, interferes and they keep Mox and Omega going. Maybe even the Good Brothers or Rich Swann, because it's supposed to be Swann and talking about the tag team with Kushida and Shelley there a little bit ago. Supposed to be at Impact Hard to Kill a week from Saturday. Rich Swann, former WWE wrestler, of course, with the Good Brothers, or the Motor City Machine Guns, against the Club, the Elite, Kenny Omega, and Lou Gallows and Carl Anderson. Omega with a big knee, running knee to the back of the head. Going to go for it again. Ray Phoenix actually bleeding from the chest. Another knee from Omega to Ray Phoenix. But still, about 10 minutes from the closing of this show. And then AEW will go off the air, of course, with NXT getting a little bit of an overrun. Balor in control here. Has O'Reilly in a headlock. Big neck breaker off the entrance by Ray Phoenix over the top rope to Kenny Omega in the middle of the ring. Kick out at 2 by the Gleaner. Balor and O'Reilly for the NXT Championship as well. Hashtag that when you share, along with AEW Dynamite and hashtag NXT NYE for New Year's Evil this evening. Live reactions, play. Thank you for tuning in and watching. 2 championship main event matches. One that has been going on for a little while now. One just began. The latter of the 2, though, will get a little bit of an overrun. So we've heard at least. I've thought for the most part both shows tonight, talk about the head-to-head with the so-called Wednesday Night War. Honestly, have both been very, well put together, and from start to finish. Most part, everything's been executed to a T, and both have been very good shows, I thought. But of course, it's just going to depend on the finishes to both these New Year's Smash and New Year's Evil episodes tonight on, who's going to come out on top. I said at the start, I had thought, NXT had a better card, which, letting everything play out, they do, and they did. Omega with another big knee off the ropes, cover 1, 2, and another kick out, though, by Ray Phoenix. They had 5 matches, were put down to 4 with the postponement of Thatcher and Ciampa. That's still going to happen at a later date once he's healthy enough to return to Thatcher, that is, because of his injury. The add-ins weren't that bad, especially the tag team match with, Gargano and Candice LeRae, the Gargano way, the way. Talked about that a little bit ago, up against Kushida and Shotzi Blackheart. Kushida's got to be the number 1 contender for Gargano's NXT North America title. I get Gargano and Austin Theory are going to be in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, and then also now we're going to have the first ever Women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic as well. But I mean, you have a championship rematch from a few months back. Karrion Kross kicking off the night against Damian Priest and a win. Priest is probably down in NXT. We'll see. The last woman standing match was pretty good. Dogg are going to check in on Kyle O'Reilly now as a ref talks with Finn Balor. So, yeah, the jaws of both competitors have really been used as, it's not weapons, but they've been really going, to that body part in their matches together. Meantime, Kenny Omega defeats Rey Fenix. Okay? Kenny Omega defeats Rey Fenix. Still your AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Don Callis now on the mic. See what he's got to say. Omega celebrating his win, drinking some water. Maybe Hangman's going to come out. Maybe Hangman in the Dark Order won't be a thing for now. I think, as mentioned, Marty Scurll and Hangman Page and Lance Archer, I think those three are your top competitors for the new leadership of the Dark Order, potentially, if they're even going to go that route. I don't know. But then you go backstage showing a clip of Pac and the Lucha Brothers with Rey Fenix still in the ring. So Pac and Pentagon, Pentel Zero M, being taken down by the Butcher and the Blade with Eddie Kingston. In the meantime, Omega's going to really go at Rey Fenix in the middle of the ring. Here comes Jon Moxley. Moxley and Omega. Moxley with a crowbar baseball bat. Telling Don Callis, get the hell out. And now from behind, taking out Jon Moxley, are the Good Brothers. Gallows and Anderson are on AEW. Holy shit. Too sweet. As Omega gets some help, Gallows and Anderson attack Jon Moxley and his barbed wire baseball bat. They hit the finish. So Omega defeats Rey Fenix. Pac and Pentagon get attacked backstage. Moxley interferes, goes after Omega. Of course, that was the championship match a month ago. And then out of nowhere, with the, alignment with AEW and TNA Impact Wrestling right now, of course, Gallows and Anderson as your Impact Tag Team Champions. The Good Brothers are finally on AEW Dynamite. Of course, this goes back to when AEW first debuted. So the story goes, because of the contracts that were coming up with the WWE, with Styles and Gallows and Anderson, they all re-signed. That in the opening night of AEW Dynamite, to close out their first ever TV show, the club was supposed to get back together. So I wonder what the Bucks think of all this. I'm sure they've, of course, had a hand in it. They're backstage, probably hell yeah right now. But as the Good Brothers, all right, who do we got now coming out? Is that Brian Pillman Jr.? It looks like Pillman Jr. and Biff from Back to the Future's son, Griff. Are they attacking the Young Bucks too? Who was that one tag team they just took out? No, those are a few tag teams you'd see on AEW Dark, I think. big power bomb from Gallows through a table ringside. Balor and O'Reilly continues on NXT, but attention right now on AEW Dynamite with the Good Brothers, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, helping out Kenny Omega. Omega with that barbed wire baseball bat right to the midsection of Jon Moxley. And then Hard to Kill for Impact a week from Saturday. It's Omega and the Good Brothers taking on Rich Swann and the Motor City Machine Guns. You would think after, you know, the Good Brothers contracts up with TNA Impact, they'll be in AEW. But maybe this story, this alignment with both AEW and TNA, maybe it'll continue moving forward. I mean, it's been going on now for, what, a month after Omega won the title? So, Moxley trying to reverse course here, and here come the Young Bucks, and it's a club reunion minus AJ Styles. I mean, Don Callis is out there, but, you know, Callis is no AJ Styles by any means. So, Too Sweet Me, the club, the Elite, they are back together tonight on AEW Dynamite for this New Year's Smash episode with Kenny Omega, the Good Brothers, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, and then the Young Bucks come out, a super kick from them to Brian Pillman Jr. and Griff Garrison. So we'll have a crossover match potentially too with the Bucks and the Good Brothers, but Omega does the Too Sweet in the middle of the ring. Callis up there as well. Good Brothers, Too Sweet. The Bucks gonna get in on it too. Shout out to AJ Styles. Sucks you're still in WWE, and yeah, you're in the Royal Rumble, but you're not on AEW tonight. I'm sure he's watching. I'm sure they told him, hey, watch. Too Sweet, I'll do it for you, AJ. Too Sweet as the club stands tall to close out AEW Dynamite this evening. Too Sweet. Too Sweet for AEW head-to-head with NXT. As NXT now going to get a little bit of an overrun with this Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly NXT Championship match. That's going to have everyone talking as well. But going back to what I was just saying there with, you know, NXT having, you know, better matches on the card, at least. AW had Snoop Dogg, Jon Moxley returning. They had a few other things advertised as well. Then they got night 2 of New Year's SmackDown next week. Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic going to begin for NXT as well. You know, it's sort of even the playing field. But then with the finish, we'll see what happens with NXT here. I'll get more into with what I have as a thought right now. I'll hold on to it and save it for, if you want to fast forward, if you're watching this on a replay, of course, maybe 10, 12 minutes from now. Too Sweet. It's been a too sweet night. And the Good Brothers on AEW. The club back together with Omega, the Bucks, Gallows and Anderson. Of course, everyone's still in New Japan, not involved with this either, but no AJ Styles this season, you know, WWE. Maybe at some point, you know, who knows, you know, but that's a good way to start off the new year, no doubt. We'll see if they do anything next week. You would think moving into Hard to Kill a week from Saturday, because they'd still be a few days out from there. But we'll see what happens. NXT Championship match continues. Nice sling blade there by Balor on O'Reilly. Takedown, stomp to the chest. Finn Balor defending his NXT Championship against Kyle O'Reilly for the second time in as many months, honestly, with how long following the injuries that these guys have been back in the ring, but the rematch hasn't happened, even though, you know, the first matchup took place back in October, so it's been more than 2 months, but still, my point there. Balor and O'Reilly going at it for the title. Omega just defeated Rey Fenix, and then the club reunion. That was good. I wasn't expecting it. I mean, I did say, if I'm not mistaken, hey, you know, maybe it's the Good Brothers, you know, maybe it's Moxley. We got both. We'll have to go back and listen, check in on with what I did in fact say. But, that was a good ending, good closing with the finish to kick off the year for AEW. Maybe that's gonna, you know, set the course for the next year, you know, following the passing of Brody Lee. Kushida and Shotzi. I'll go over results here in a minute once NXT does in fact conclude. But yes, that was an add-in tag team match. Thank you for watching. We're trying to go right. That was an add-in because of the circumstances that NXT would put in. That was hell yeah to the club. Too sweet. I mean, that was damn good. You know, like I said, I was not expecting that. I wasn't. Even though if I did say it or didn't, even with, you know, the crossover that they've had as of late, until, for me at least, you know, I don't believe it until I see it happen. And it did happen. Now I do believe, of course, but Kyle O'Reilly taps out. Finn Balor, still your NXT champion. So no interference on this end. Maybe Karrion Kross didn't come out next. But, no, good finish to AEW. We'll see if NXT does anything here or not. But Finn Balor, still your NXT champion. So both champions retain, but then it's post-match with what we saw with, of course, AEW. But no, was not expecting that by any means. That happened. It's going to have everyone talking. I mean, no doubt for the wrestling world, that's going to have everyone talking over everything that's happened as of late in the past few weeks. I mean, if only they did it on a pay-per-view, you know, on a Saturday night, would it, you know, probably be a little bit bigger, but you do it on TV to hype up what you got going with Impact right now, okay? And then on to Beach Break and then Revolution. So, if not now, when? You know, and they've already had this on the back burner for quite some time. And then, you know, last April following WrestleMania, the Good Brothers are let go by the WWE, Talk and Shop-A-Mania. That became a thing. And now they're finally not in AEW, but they're on AEW tonight. You know, but the future's bright. Adam Cole now down with the rest of the Undisputed Era. There's Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly with Roderick Strong in the corner. They're to the aid of O'Reilly, who just tapped out to Finn Balor. Balor bleeding there a little bit from the side of his head. Cole might turn around and cold cock Finn. The thing is, though, too, they've teased, you know, Balor being with the Undisputed Era before. You know, for a little over, you know, a year and a half now. Yeah. Maybe, yeah. And closing credits, that'll do it for NXT. as Finn Balor stares down the camera with blood running down his face. They fade to black. That's it for WWE NXT this evening. So AEW wins tonight, no doubt about it. I think, because as mentioned earlier, with the cards, NXT had the better matchups. Could have been a little bit better, but Ciampa Thatcher gets pulled because of injury. It'll happen later, probably at TakeOver next month, maybe. We'll see if they're going to change the name of TakeOver to TakeOver St. Valentine's Day or St. Valentine's Day Massacre, hopefully, because it's on Valentine's Day. We got In Your House, Halloween Havoc, along with War Games, and hell, you had a devil in the logo of New Year's Evil night. So what the hell is the difference? There's not much of one. So give us St. Valentine's Day Massacre TakeOver, because that, as they already announced, is going when the next TakeOver is going to be. So both AEW now, along with NXT, done and over with for the evening to kick off the new year here in 2021. Hopefully everyone had a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, or Happy Holidays for one of those people once more. But, and rest in peace to Mr. Brody Lee, the Exalted One himself, gone way too soon. Still really can't believe it, but, show goes on, as mentioned earlier. But AEW had, with the two shows coming in, NXT, better matchups. AEW had more star power with just the... You look at the appearances from Snoop Dogg. You also had Jericho on commentary again. Snoop then hit a splash off the top rope. That had everyone talking. No doubt about it for sure. But then with the finish to AEW, along with all the good wrestling that both shows put on tonight. Okay, Jon Moxley also returned. Omega to close it out, as Balor also retained his NXT Championship. Kenny Omega retained his AEW World Heavyweight Championship as well. Moxley came out with a barbed wire baseball bat, was going to go to town, but then here come the Good Brothers, and the club's back together. You got Omega, Gallows, and Anderson. Young Bucks eventually came out. No AJ Styles by any means, because he's still in WWE, as mentioned. But good to see the club all back together on AEW. They're not technically, full-blown in with the company as of yet, but they are on the show tonight. So baby steps. Move towards the future. And like I said, potentially, is this going to be the sign to come for, what AEW has planned for the rest of the year, as we just kicked off 2021 tonight for Wednesday nights, at least, for AEW and WWE NXT. Of course, Raw on Monday night, SmackDown on Friday night. But now some results. Cody Rhodes was your winner against Matt Sydal, and then Sydal actually helped out me. That's when, of course, Snoop hit his splash. That was god-awful, but he still hit it. Of course, as mentioned, you would think has everyone talking right now, but then with the Good Brothers, on AEW, that probably just blew everything up. Young Bucks and SCU also won their 8-man tag team match against the Hybrid 2, along with the Acclaimed. SCU then pointing at those tag team titles, so it looks like we'll be getting Young Bucks and SCU for the AEW World Tag Team Championships at some point. But then you also have the Good Brothers coming in. Maybe a crossover with both tag team champions with both AEW and TNA Impact. Wardlow beat Hager. Shida still your Chuck Taylor versus Miro, of course, former FTR with Jurassic Express as well in tag team competition. Darby Allin going to defend his AEW TNT title as well against the Machine Brian Cage of Team Taz, who is currently your FTW champion. However, in my opinion, as mentioned earlier, I do believe the matches of the night next week for AEW Dynamite New Year's Smash Night 2. Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker, AEW still has to figure out their women's division. But then Pac and Kingston, they'll steal a show, tear the house down. However, tonight on NXT New Year's Evil, the WWE, we're supposed to get Ciampa and Thatcher, as mentioned, in a Fight Pit match, pulled because of injury to Timothy Thatcher, excuse me. So Tommaso Ciampa, for the time being, probably not gonna do anything. He might not. Just depends on what they, of course, will decide on. But William Regal did, in fact, say, along with, hey, Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic beginning next week. We're also going to have the first ever Women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic as well. When Thatcher's good enough to come back and wrestle, once he is healthy, 100%, we'll get Ciampa and Thatcher in the Fight Pit match that we were supposed to get tonight. So, we'll get that eventually, just a matter of when and where. Santos Escobar, still your Cruiserweight Champion. He defeated Grand Metalik. Karrion Kross and Damian Priest kicked off the night. Kross, your winner, in his return match from his injury. He'll get the NXT Championship back from Finn Balor, or whoever the champion is, at some point down the line. He probably will beat Balor, and then Balor might stick around for NXT, a little bit longer. Hell, he might even get, brought back up to the main roster at that point in time. We'll see. But talk about main roster call-ups. Damian Priest, now rumored might be done in NXT, getting called up to either Raw or SmackDown. Only tell. But Karrion Kross, your winner, kicked off the night victory against Damian Priest on NXT New Year's Evil, as we saw the Young Bucks and SCU in that 8-man tag kick off the night on AEW Dynamite New Year's Smash. Raquel Gonzalez, she answered the count of 10 in the last woman standing match over Rhea Ripley, defeating Rhea Ripley in the last woman standing match. And then, as we just saw in the rematch for NXT TakeOver 31, Finn Balor defeating and retaining his NXT Championship over Kyle O'Reilly this evening to close out WWE NXT New Year's Evil. However, at the same point in time, NXT even had the overrun, for God's sakes, that you're going to look back on it as, well, nobody really did care about it, because nobody, for NXT at least tonight, really returned. Xia Li, and then Kushida was, teamed up with Shotzi Blackheart as well. Those were your fill-in add-ins, because of the one match being, of course, pulled. You gotta do sometimes. I get it, but when you have Gals and Anderson, star caliber they are, and all the history with the club, nobody's gonna remember. I don't care if it was a rematch or not with Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly. Damn good match, no doubt. No, I don't think as good as the first matchup, TakeOver 31 back in October. They said it lived up to the hype. Of course they're going to say that. I didn't think it was. Everybody has their own opinion, though. Let me know in the comments. Thank you for tuning in once again and watching. But, regardless of the outcome, okay, NXT, even with as good as matches they had, all anybody ever remembers, and I say this for football or any other sport, is you won or lost. Really care less about that. But all anybody ever remembers in wrestling, okay, is how the show ended, leading in, seems like at least, to the next week. Keep people on the end of their seat. Make them want to come back and watch some more. We saw that with Goldberg returning, on Raw Monday night, challenging Drew McIntyre for the WWE title. Got into that earlier. Care less about it. Don't like Goldberg. Can't wrestle, okay? But over time and time again. Everybody has their opinion now. Just doesn't make sense for storylines when, you have as many superstars, wrestlers as you have that you could work with if you booked them better. But no, we're going to bring somebody back that nobody gives a shit about. But we don't care. We're going to piss everybody off. That's the mindset. Honestly, it is. But AEW, I thought, did a better job with the finish tonight. You saved the best for last. And they did. And we finally got the Good Brothers on AEW this evening. Technically not in with the company, but they're on the show tonight because of the, crossover right now with AEW and TNA Impact. Omega having been on Impact, past month and hour or so, since winning the title against Jon Moxley. But then, taking another step down, everybody's forgetting right now they're going to go back to Omega and Moxley for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship at some point. You know, because they teased that. Moxley returned tonight earlier, cut a promo, and then came out later, barbed wire baseball bat, was going to go to town on an Omega and Don Callis, and the Good Brothers attack. You know, so they did a good job at, you know, what they did, I thought. And of course, it's going to have everyone talking because, as mentioned, with the star caliber that, you know, the Good Brothers are, seems like everyone likes them. I sure as hell do. You know, you got to go back to New Japan with the club. Too Sweet Me once again. It was a Too Sweet night for AEW. You know, they all went to, at least Styles and Gallows and Anderson did, to WWE back in 2016. Of course, Styles debuted at the Royal Rumble. He's going to be in the Royal Rumble 5 years later, at the end of the month. Gallows and Anderson didn't debut until after WrestleMania 32 that year. Young Bucks, along with Omega, they stay in New Japan for a little while longer. Cody Rhodes gets let go by the WWE, got out. Good for him. And, you know, here comes AEW. And, I mean, rest has been history since. You know, like I said a little bit ago, they were supposed to, so the story goes, supposed to be on the first ever episode of Dynamite back October of 2019. Of course, that didn't happen, though, because Styles, Gallows, and Anderson all re-signed. But then, you know, not even a year later, okay, Gallows and Anderson are let go this past April. And Talking Shop Mania becomes a thing because Talking Shop was already a thing, for the podcast at least. Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe. Links in the description below. Now, with, you know, AEW and TNA working together, you know, Omega with the Good Brothers taking on Swan and the Motor City Machine Guns a week from Saturday, Impact Hard to Kill. Now we got the Good Brothers on Impact, coming over from Impact on AEW, helping out Kenny Omega, aiding him in the attack from Jon Moxley. And then the Young Bucks came out as well. And minus AJ Styles, you know, we're all here for you, acting as if we are AJ Styles. That's why I did Too Sweet. Hey, we're here for you, AJ. We feel your hurt, you know, sort of, so to speak, with just, yeah, he's doing good stuff in the WWE, but, you know, his booking could even be better, too. I mean, hell, he doesn't need a bodyguard, for God's sakes. But no, we're going to give him a bodyguard. You know, make him a little bit stronger. Now, if he doesn't win the Royal Rumble, if they don't do anything with him, you know, at any point down the line, I mean, they're not going to get rid of him by any means. Don't start with that talk, but you never know. You know, I don't know. But that's why I said baby steps. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day. It's going to take some time for, you know, all this to come to fruition, if it will ever happen. But they did what they could do, minus AJ. You know, like I said, I'm sure they told him, hey, watch tonight. You know, we got something planned. He obviously knew. You would think, at least, hope that they told him, you know, being the good brother that he is. But then you have, as mentioned, Omega defeating Rey Fenix. Moxley comes out, attacks Omega. Barbed wire baseball bat. Really didn't do a whole lot, though. Before the Good Brothers attack. And then the Young Bucks come out and had a few more attacks as well from other tag teams. Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic coming back for NXT next week as well. But you have Omega, along with Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, Nick Jackson, Omega, your AEW World Heavyweight Champion, the Good Brothers, who are your current Impact Tag Team Champions, and the Young Bucks, who are your current AEW World Tag Team Champions. All Too Sweet in the middle of the ring to close out the show as they, of course, faded to black. Minus AJ Styles, because AJ is, of course, still in WWE. No, this is not Hook 'em Horns. They did fire Tom Herman and hire Steve Sarkisian, who I do believe will have success in Austin with the Horns. You know, of course, former Washington and USC head football coach, of course, before becoming an assistant in the NFL with the Falcons, and then under Nick Saban here as of late. getting back in the head coaching ranks. We'll get more into football later on this upcoming weekend. NFL playoffs begin with Super Wildcard weekend with 2 triple headers on Saturday and Sunday. Be sure to go check out my NFL playoff predictions right here on the channel if you haven't done so already. But then currently on schedule for now, next Monday night, this upcoming Monday, January the 11th, the College Football Playoff National Championship game with Alabama and Ohio State. The Crimson Tide and Buckeyes will meet for the first time in a little over 5 years since they met in the College Football Playoff semis in the Sugar. Now they'll meet in the national title game. This upcoming Monday game yesterday, from what we were hearing, very well could get postponed a week or so because of COVID-19, but still on track to take place this upcoming Monday. So be sure to tune back in live right here on YouTube for more live reactions play with the NFL playoffs beginning, with wildcard round, of course, before the divisional conference championships and Super Bowl 55 on February 7th. From now until then, we'll have another night of New Year's Smash for AEW, Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, Beach Break as well, early February. But then also the College Football Playoff National Championship game this upcoming Monday. Go check out my College Football Bowl game predictions along with my NFL playoff predictions as well. Both live right here on the channel. That should do it for myself, your host, Encyclopedia Sports, Cool Hand Luke 96, live right here on YouTube. So hopefully you'll tune back in for more live reactions play of professional wrestling along with college football and the NFL live right here on YouTube. All you have to do, hit that red subscribe button, little notify bell next to it as well. Like, follow, and subscribe as always. Links in the description below. Thank you for tuning in and watching both my AEW Dynamite New Year's Smash and WWE NXT New Year's Evil live reactions play live right here on YouTube this evening. Rest in peace to the exalted one, Mr. Brody Lee. As well, it's always Wednesday for AEW and NXT, and you know what that means. It's Sunday through Saturday. You know what that means. If you know, you know. But yes, that'll do it for both AEW and NXT this evening, as it was, in fact, a too-sweet night as the club with Omega, Gallows and Anderson, along with the Young Bucks, minus AJ Styles, all closed out AEW Dynamite Night 1 of New Year's Smash this evening. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe as always on social media. Links in the description below. Hopefully tune in once again this upcoming weekend for more live reactions play with the NFL playoffs and the College Football Playoff National Championship game on Monday night. But tonight, a too-sweet night in pro wrestling with AEW Dynamite and WWE NXT. Thank you for watching. See everybody later.